amazingly exciting day. We've got people from New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and America all joining all together on one global activation call. So my name's Jenny Rudd. I am an activator in New Zealand, and I'm the editor of SheEO magazine, yay! Which we launched at the Global Summit in Toronto in March. Now, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to change your name so that you can tell us with an A if you're an activator, a V if you're a venture, or G if you're a guest. And also, if you would like to add your country straight after your name as well, that'd be awesome. And Jesse's put some information up here, how you can update your Zoom name. The other thing that I'd ask you to do is, can you have a little look at your rectangle and make sure that you're on mute? So make sure everybody's on mute, so that, and then if you want to talk, you can unmute your microphone and then talk. So what an exciting day. We've got 112 people already on here. And we're going to be talking to everybody about welcoming guests all over the world and hearing from Vicky about activating. But the first thing that we'd like to do is pass to Dali Patara, who's going to do a land acknowledgement for us.
Hello, everybody. Hi, I'm Dali Patara. I'm in Vancouver, Canada. I'm with the Whole Human Foundation. We believe in democratizing health knowledge. And so in today's acknowledgement, I'd like to acknowledge the First Nations Health Authority, which is a health authority in my area. So first, we acknowledge the land that we are inhabiting today is the unceded territory of the Coast Salish people, as well as the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Before colonization, this land was grounds to many First Nations communities. Their land was taken forcefully by settlers who supported the colonial system. It is important to respect the First Nations communities in order to foster healthy relationships that support reconciliation. With new connections, we can learn from each other and build upon our knowledge of healing techniques to improve our own. It is common in First Nation communities to use traditional and spiritual healing practices as a key part of their health. Specialist healers have a developed understanding of the environment and its healing characteristics, which includes plants that are often used to help heal many ailments. As a whole human, we can share this information and become knowledgeable, more knowledgeable in many areas of and aspects of life, especially health. So thank you. And I'll share with you the link to the First Nations Health Authority that's local here in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dali. That was beautiful. I do love on our calls, our international calls, where we all get to really feel a flavour of how other countries welcome people into their lives and their land. The land acknowledgement was something that I saw in Toronto for the first time, and it felt really connected to the Maori ethos here of welcoming an ancestry and being really aware of who came before. It's really beautiful and pleasurable. Thank you. So the objective of our call today is to meet, to learn some more about SheEO and meet some of our activators and ventures. We've got some amazing people talking today, very exciting. And we do these calls every week, all around the world. Each country does their own call, and we talk about different things every week. So sometimes we talk about systems change and mindset shifts, and we talk about Ask Give, which is something that we're going to work on today all together. So we're going to hear a lot from Vicky Saunders, the founder of SheEO. We're going to hear from some of our ventures. And I tell you what else we're going to do to kick off, which is what we always do, is Jessie is going to share in the chat box at the right there, a link to menti.com. So you click on the link and then you write in your one-word check-in of how you feel. So tell us how you feel at the beginning of the call. Jessie, can you, there you go. Caitlin's popped it in, thank you. So type on the Mentimeter and type in your one word that you feel today and click on submit. And then once everybody's put their word in, the Mentimeter will produce a beautiful word cloud and we're all going to be able to have a look at it. So here we go, sharing the screen, lots of people energized and excited and inspired and hopeful and focused, smiling, nervous, curious, supported, 80%, calm, amplified. What an amazing lot of words that we all feel together. And do feel free in the chat box down the side to keep writing to each other and share your thoughts and where you're from And if you're a guest, share with us who the activator is that's brought you in. Oh, there's someone there. Anne-Marie Wright has written privileged. I so agree with you, Anne-Marie. What a lovely thing to say. We are so privileged to all have the digital capability and the time to be able to join together and share all our radical generosity with each other. So now I'm going to just, before we go to hand over to Vicky, I just want to let you know that the call is being live captioned by Otter, which if you look at the top left of the screen, there's a little red button saying live. If you've got any issue where you can't hear very well, if you click on live, you'll be able to read the Otter notes. And equally, when we go to the breakout rooms, if you do have hearing problems, can you private message Jessie and she'll make sure that you're in a breakout room where you can read and join in like that. So Vicky, over to you.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're well today. Really excited to see 188 people here. Awesome. I am going to share my screen and give you a bit of an overview of SheEO. So here we go. I'm going to just start for a sec with why we started SheEO. My why: every day something happens in my life to get me somewhat ragey and thankful at the same time. I've learned from our Indigenous sisters to you can hold two things at once. You can be hopeful and incredibly devastated at the same time. You can be thankful and frustrated. Today, my word was enraged for check-in because a very good friend of mine started this incredible organization in Toronto called the DMZ. It's one of the first incubators that was set up in a university. And she's unreal, and she's an activator, Val Fox. Today's the 10th anniversary of that incubator, and she did it for 5 years, and then it was taken over by a young man. And today they announced the 10th anniversary, and they completely erased her from the history of this group. Literally, they're like, thank you for the people that made this possible. And it was like 5 men's names and not her name. And she literally built this thing from the ground up. So I have not had a heart racing moment like that for a long, long time. And this is literally one of the reasons why we started SheEO. Enough of erasing women out of history. We need to be celebrating the amazingness of women. So that's my why today. Lots of other whys from my experience as an entrepreneur. But I'm actually going to go to this slide, and I'm sure my team right now is freaking out. Why is she showing the old logo? So when we started SheEO 5 years ago, this is what we looked like. And until about a week and a half ago, this is what we look like. And it started with this big focus on strong SheEO version of CEO, SheEO. And it just wasn't inclusive enough for the times we were in. And one of the funny stories that happened along the way is a young, super hip, cool entrepreneur in Toronto said to me, it looks like an old lady menopause logo. So thank you very much, Brooks, for kicking off our rebrand, because now this is how we look. So we are here to basically deconstruct mindsets, deconstruct and decolonize ourselves in order to create equitable systems together. This is how I read our logo. So the deconstructing, you can see the sort of breaking down of the she, because it's not inclusive enough. Equitable systems together. And I'm walking through this brand platform, and I'm going to start from the bottom to walk you through. This really defines who we are at SheEO. The core belief in this community is abundance. We believe that there's more than enough. We have more than enough in this community and globally to solve the challenges we're facing. There's more than enough money. There's more than enough food. It's just poorly organized. And we're in a time of craziness right now where there's just so much inequality. But our belief is in abundance. There is enough for everyone. And the positioning underneath that is that this concept of radical generosity, which you'll experience today in the rooms, fuels our new operating system. When we are in a spirit of radical generosity, it creates all kinds of opportunities to create a new economy and a new perspective. Some of the proof points we have around this: we have a whole different way of selecting ventures. You, as activators who contribute capital, are the ones who select the ventures. We have a new way to generate capital, which is everybody who becomes an activator contributes $92 a month or $1,100 for the year. And then that model, that money is invested into ventures at 0% interest, which they pay back over 5 years, and then it's invested again in new ventures. This creates an incredible opportunity to build a global perpetual fund that has so many more benefits than just funding women. It has all of this beyond currency flow. There's so much impact that happens. We feel that we're using our skills meaningfully to support these ventures, and we get so much out of it as activators. The emotional benefits are pretty strong. You'll hear from some activators about this shortly, but we're co-creating the world we want to live in. And we're at a moment right now in the world where we're between worlds. The old world is dying away as we see our structures and our systems fall away. And we're on our way to a new world, and we're not sure what that looks like. And some of the ventures you'll hear from today are creating that new world, and we're together working on the world's to-do list. The values underneath all of this is that we're kind. It's kind of a strange thing in business, but we're very kind with each other. We're radically generous. Jacinda Ardern talks about this all the time, and Jenny will maybe show you a picture later, but she has a picture with Jacinda from last week holding up the SheEO magazine, which is awesome. We're also very brave, because this is hard work to do, to step into the unknown and to lead us to a new world. That takes a lot of bravery and courage. We're here to amplify each other's voices. And pretty much anyone who steps into the SheEO community has some kind of transformative experience by how they meet and connect and get into relationship with others. And the center of this is that we're here to activate the change agent inside every single one of us. Just to go over the model, it's, as I mentioned, $92 a month. We fund ventures at 0% interest, and we're building a perpetual fund. We only fund women who are working on the world's to-do list, and this is our framing for the Sustainable Development Goals. If you're not aware of the SDGs, 200 governments around the world have signed on to these as the most pressing global priorities we have, and every venture that you'll hear from is working on at least one of these priorities. Our model is proven, and we're on our way to an equitable and sustainable world. 5,000 activators. This model is now in 5 countries. We've funded 68 ventures. By the end of this year, we'll be somewhere around 90. And we have a 95% repayment rate. Look at these awesome women. This is Canada and US ventures that were just selected this year. You're going to hear from ventures in a minute, but 90% of your money goes to the Venture Perpetual Fund, and that money just keeps rolling forward forever. And 10% of your contribution goes to the experience you have as an activator. And there's so many things like this call that we're doing right now that's weekly. We have an online community where you can meet other people and search for who can help you with your business or for whatever you're doing in the world. We have special working groups around racial justice and rooting in our story from our Indigenous sisters. We have an Ask Give app. You're going to practice asks and gives in a minute in a room. I know I'm saying so much, but you'll get this deck after. And I don't know if Tara Hunt's on today, but I can see her right at the beginning of the C, where this is voting parties. One of the totally fun things we get to do when you become an activator is vote on the ventures that you'd like to select in your country. And so sometimes in the past, we gathered when we were able to gather. Some countries you can still do that, but we'll be doing that online this year. Last thing I want to say is absolutely everything at SheEO is on your own terms. If you're too busy to participate deeply, that's fine. If you want to go deep and meet all the ventures and get in there and help, you can do that too. You can come in and out and all of the money that we loan out is also loaned out on your own terms to the ventures. So we are very much creating as much space as possible for people to participate their way on the way to creating a new world. Back to you, Jesse or Jenny, whoever's next. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Vicky. That was amazing. It was so exciting to see it all be delivered as well with our new branding. That's really cool. And while Vicky was talking, I just had a quick look through some of the participants. We've got people from some really interesting places. There's a lady on here from Taiwan. There's a lady on here from Taiwan. How cool is that? So welcome everybody that's on our call. And what we're going to do now is we are going to hear from some of our ventures. And the ventures that we've got are an amazing lady called Brandy Dicarly, who is a US venture, and she is from Farm from a Box. I absolutely love this. The first time I ever saw it, I was like, a farm in a box? That's just extraordinary. And that's exactly what it is. So you can take a farm to somewhere in the world, and then you can eat food from the farm. It's crazy. So, and there's also In Digital, Michaela J from In Digital in Australia, another venture who was announced this year in the first online venture announcement, which was so exciting. That's what we're going to be doing in Aotearoa in New Zealand as well on the 19th of October. So Brandy, I'm going to pass to you, beautiful lady, and you've got 3 minutes, and I will help you at the end of your 3 minutes.
Fantastic. Thank you. Can everybody hear me? I'm so excited to be here. It's wonderful to see some familiar faces, and I'm really honored to meet some of you that I have not yet had the opportunity to meet. My name is Brandy Dicarly, and I'm the co-founder of Farm from a Box. And you can see the box on your screen. It's quite literally a box, but it's so much more than that. So this year has really shown just how powerful localized food production grown in a sustainable way is. We've seen the fractures in our food supply chains. If you're on the West Coast, or if you're looking at the West Coast, we are in the middle of climate change right now. So when we talk about our mission to empower communities literally around the world to grow and sustain their own healthy, nutritious food using clean technology, that cannot be more important than where we are in the world right now. So you saw the box a little bit. Let me describe what that thing is. Every single unit is powered by clean, renewable energy, and it acts as its own independent power system. So regardless of whether we're in an urban area or whether we are in a really remote location, it is its own clean energy pod. It also comes with pumping mechanisms. It comes with drip irrigations that we can extend the growing season and be able to grow a wide variety of different crops. It comes with internal cold storage, which can save a significant amount of crop loss that happens in field. We also put in Wi-Fi connectivity and an entire data system so that we can actually track and monitor the farm remotely from your phone and make sure that we're using it as efficiently as we possibly can. Now, what does that mean? That means half of the world, more than half of the world, is growing food on smallholder farms, and yet they don't have the technology to be able to increase or stabilize that production. We're working to fill that need by creating this deliverable infrastructure that would basically empower anyone to grow their own food entirely off-grid, regardless of what their location is. We are about to do one deployment, oh my God, next week. It's going by very quickly. This is a deployment that's happening with the indigenous community of the Lakota Nation in Pine Ridge, South Dakota. So really excited to see this one happen. And we're about to close on our first volume order with the United Nations in Liberia, among other projects. Let me tell you why some of these things are remarkable, because—
Sorry, Brandy, tell us very quickly.
I'm going to tell you, oh God, I go too fast.
I know.
2020, such a hard year for all businesses. And that's where the power of a network like SheEO has really come into play, with coaching, support to be able to help us go through these challenges, to be able to help us connect with potential sales opportunities, to be able to connect with growth opportunities for everything that we need to be able to scale out, including getting our finances ready for a large mechanism. There's a number of different things. I get so excited, I talk too much. Breakout rooms. But let me tell you, incredible impact, and I'm happy to be here.
So thank you so much, Brandy. I absolutely love listening to it. It's so exciting seeing everybody's comments all the way down the side. We've got Mila Greenslade from Aotearoa, New Zealand, saying food to the people forever, awesome. And lots of, I love how all the guests are really getting involved and putting their information down the side. If you would like to talk to Brandy and you think that you would like to connect with her business in any way, please, Brandy's just going to type in her contact details in there, and a few people have put other contact details for her in there. Thank you so much, Brandy. And you're right, I love seeing the familiar faces on here. I met Brandy in Toronto, and it is such a thrill to see all the people that you meet all over the world, and you can see them regularly on here. So now I'm going to pass to Michaela Jade, who is the founder of InDigital in Australia. And she's one of this year's newest ventures from Australia. So off you go, Michaela.
Hi everyone, my name is Michaela Jade. It's really nice to meet you. I run a company called InDigital, and we're Australia's first Indigenous edutech company specialising in closing the gap between First Peoples and other peoples in cutting edge technologies such as augmented and mixed reality. currently there's 400 million First Peoples around the world without access to a digital future. So we're trying to change that. We have been, firstly, I'm an activator. I'm an activator sponsor. So I've sponsored an Indigenous businesswoman to come into the network because I believe in the power of bringing other Indigenous women into the network. And I'm very lucky to be a venture this year. We're really excited to be a part of that. Firstly, the impact of the funding had a revolutionary impact on our business. I was able to employ my first person through the funds, which was incredible. We've now grown to 6 people with Indigenous peoples positioned in regional and remote communities around Australia working for us. We're really excited about that. But the biggest value for being part of the SheEO network for our company has been access to mentors to help us understand what to do in the business, access to teachers to teach us how to do different things that we haven't been able to do ourselves yet, and also access to sponsors, so people who are connecting us to opportunities all around the world. So far, with the support of mentors, teachers and sponsors through the SheEO network, we've been able to grow our business by $200,000, which is amazing, just in 9 months. As I mentioned before, we've grown by 6 people, and we now have 120 schools in our inbox that want to work with us in 2021, which is absolutely phenomenal. We are so grateful to be part of this incredible network, and we do have an ask. So we've been able to, with the sponsors, connect with a major gaming company internationally, and something that a sponsor really helped us do was, as an Indigenous business, approach corporations and not be kicked to the charity bin. Because we're Indigenous, most corporations unfortunately think that we want something for free. We're Indigenous business, we want business, and our sponsor through the SheEO network really helped us position ourselves as a business, wanting to work with a corporate rather than be thought of as charity. Now we're working with the major gaming company, and a part of a project that we're doing is reaching 500 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander kids in NAIDOC Week, teaching them to create their own augmented reality through a NAIDOC challenge. And part of that, we need a connection to Lego. So part of our program involves non-computing activities and computing activities, and Lego is part of the non-computing activity. And we want to get those kits to the kids by NAIDOC Week. So if anyone knows anyone in Lego, please connect to me, because we haven't had any success going through the front door yet.
Oh, that's such a great ask. Thank you so much, Michaela. Lots of love down here as well for your business. And yeah, I love your line there about being kicked to the charity bin because you're Indigenous. What a horrifying kind of link that is constantly all along that link. You know, if you're Indigenous, you need to do it for free. You haven't got the skills to be able to just turn it into a commercial. It's such a weird, all sorts of weird things going on there. But so fantastic to hear from you. And so for all of our guests, those ventures, they are 2 ventures, 2 of these 68 or soon to be 73 when we announce ours next month, ventures that our community has funded. And so when these 2 women talk about the growth they've experienced, that is growth that's come directly out of the pockets of the really abundantly generous women just like you on this call. So we're now going to hear from 2 activators, and they're going to keep it very short and sweet. And all I'd like you to talk about is why you activate. So I'm going to pass first to Tony Puri, a US activator.
Hi there, thank you so much. I joined SheEO about a year ago, and I went to a private event at Adina Smith's house and was just so impressed with the women there and so amazed at what SheEO was doing. So I could not wait to sign up. It has been phenomenal for me to be a part of such a dynamic group of like-minded women who not only live with real intention, but they are actually doing something to make a big worldwide difference. And I love that. I love that my network has expanded, especially through LinkedIn, with other SheEO members all across the globe. That's really exciting. And then just being inspired by the innovation, the ideas of all the ventures. I think hearing what everybody is doing has certainly motivated me to want to do more and to have a greater impact in my community and with the kind of work that I'm doing. So I absolutely love that. And just honestly, to top it off, knowing that I am making a little bit of a contribution to such a radical making a radical cause to such a radical cause and making such a radical difference is probably the most rewarding thing that I've done.
Thank you so much, Tony. Sorry to cut you off there. And you're absolutely right. Do you know what? It's not a small contribution. It's a massive contribution, because when everyone does it together, it's huge. So I just want to cut in there as well and say, Michaela, make sure you keep an eye on the chat. There's quite a lot of people down there who are saying that they can help you. So keep an eye on the chat box. And now I'm going to pass to the beautiful, amazing Tiara Fraser, who has got a fantastic airline, SheEO Air, and she's going to tell us a little bit about being an activator.
Tanse Kiwao. Hello to all of you. My name is Tiara. Hi, see waves. I'm Tiara Fraser, and I am. I have two businesses: the SheEO Air and the Raven Institute. I'm an activator because it is incredible to be part of community. I think in these times we are longing for connection. We're longing for belonging. We're longing for community. And this is a place where everyone is filled with love and generosity and working mindfully to be in reciprocity with one another, being in reciprocity with the world. And, you know, this is about offer what you can, and ask for what you need, and that is reciprocity. It's beautiful. I love SheEO. If you're not a part of it, please stick around and check everything out, because your heart will be filled, I promise.
Absolutely. That's a great endorsement as well. Thank you so much, Tiara. And yes, please do stay on, and don't forget, if you're being inspired by this, you'd like to activate, there'll be a link in the chat box where you can activate. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the bit of the call where we all go into breakout rooms, and we I've got the opportunity to meet some of the other people in the community, and I think Jesse's going to split us up so that we've got a nice mix of people from all over the world, and guests and activators and all sorts. And this is, when you go into your breakout room, there'll be one person who's your facilitator who will manage it. And so facilitators, you will have about 22, 23 minutes. So depending on how many people are in your room, I suggest that you divide the number of minutes by that number of people, and then invite them to introduce themselves and do an ask and a give. An ask and a give is where we are so used to doing this in our community. So I suggest you ask the activators to go first, and they will show you how it's done. So have a think about what you really need and make sure you ask for it. And if you've got something to give, please do. And then we will join back here at 11:50, come back to the main room, and please choose someone within your group who is going to choose 3 words that summarize your experience in your group. And then when you come back, I'd like you to put them all in the chat box so that we can feel and experience what each other has talked about. So Jessie, do you want to handle that?
Thanks so much, Jenny. So I have tried my best with 200 people to do a mix of, for sure, activators, ventures, and guests in your group. I've tried to do regional where you've specified. So our groups will be between 6 to 8, and we're going to meet back here at 10 to the hour. So I'm opening up all of the rooms now. You'll see a link at the top of your Zoom screen to join your breakout group, where your facilitator will share a little bit more about what happens next. Thank you, everyone.
Met lots of people in your group. It looks like, I think we are nearly all back. Are we all back, Jessie?
Yep, fire away.
So kia ora, everybody. Welcome back to the main room after your breakout session. And it was really cool to speak to so many different people in the group. We had lots of Canadians in ours, and I was really excited to see someone in my group who I was sitting next to at the Global Summit. That's so funny, isn't it? I love it. Who knew? So could you please act the facilitators, if you could pop in the chat box, put your 3 words that you came out of your group that rounded up what you felt. We said we've got curious, inspiring, and connection. Yeah, we talked about connection. We also said international because it was so fun. Karen Joyce from Australia saying Chuck's giggled generously, lots of giggling in there. Energizing and activating, effortlessness. Yes, Janaki, effortlessness. It is so warm and effortless being able to talk to everybody here. Inspired abundance. There is so much abundance. On Helen Fitness from New Zealand says, we break the rules and created a phrase from the unknown to circular magic. That is a beautiful way of describing, because we are so unknown. We're creating new world. We're making our own new rules, and we have to break them all the time because we don't even know what the rules are. So it's a perfect way to act. Now, we have got, let me just have a little look at my list of things. I don't want to miss anything out on my list of things that we have to talk about. I'm going to pass to Patrice Mousseau, who is a Canadian activator and a venture, and who's going to talk to us about our SheEOs asked to ask you to reactivate. So Patrice.
Thank you so much. Yes, I wanted to take this opportunity to talk to you about myself as a venture, the impact that SheEO had on me, and what activation means. When you activate, you are able to help ventures like me who are started their business in a crock pot and have been able, because of SheEO's support, grow it into literally hundreds and hundreds of stores across the country in a very short time. Because I was, and I am a single mom with no assets, and nobody was certainly ever going to lend me that money that SheEO did initially as a venture. And then as I became an activator, which I do every year, it's really about this self-empowerment for myself. We talk about radical generosity, and sometimes, kindness shouldn't be radical, but it really is in business. And when we're in these groups together, sharing and supporting each other, this is my chosen family. And this chosen family, it gives me a sense of power in the world, in a world where it seems like all the systems are falling apart, and there's so much terrible stuff out there. When I'm in SheEO, I feel like we're really building something that is greater than either any of us could do, and really making an impact on the world. So it's the most incredible thing I've ever done, I've ever been a part of in my life, for sure.
Thank you. Thanks, Patrice. Thank you so much. Yes. I think that's fair to say that everybody would feel like that. I think there's something up here that I just wanted to read out. Let me just find it. There was a lady saying, oh, here, Najiba said, I hope you will also open the venture opportunities to refugee women-led entrepreneurs and businesswomen who would really benefit from SheEO. So just to be so clear, that is exactly, everybody is so welcome. And because we really do invest and when we fund ventures, everything is on their own terms. This is perfect for people who would otherwise usually be pushed out of the picture for being funded and invested in, because it really is on people's own terms. We understand in the SheEO community that everybody has so much to give and learning from their own cultural ability to grow their business. So it really is open to everyone. So if you do know people, Indigenous people, people with different genders, all sorts of different persuasions, colors, the whole shebang, it's all welcome. And we would like everyone to do that. So please do share. Jessie will put the link in of how you can apply to be a ventures, because today ventures are open to UK, is it UK, Canada, and America, is it, Jessie? So today we've got ventures open. That means that if you have a venture and you are between, I think it's 50K and $2 million, it is in New Zealand, 50K and $2 million turnover, you are 50% led by a woman, 50% owned by a woman, and you're doing something good for the world, then you should apply. You should apply with your venture. And like Marielle here from Australia saying, please encourage people to apply as a venture. I was a semi-finalist this year, and the love and support from everyone, it's really good for all applicants, not just the ones that get funded. So please do. And also New Zealand activators, my beautiful community in Whanau here in New Zealand, please remember to vote for your SheEO ventures, because we are right at the end. We've got 10 semi-finalists, and we're voting for our finalists who are announced on the 19th of October. Very exciting, which we're going to announce online on our weekly Wednesday morning meeting. This is Wednesday morning for us. It might be Tuesday somewhere for lots of you, I'm guessing. Penny White from New Zealand says, how do we find out about them? Penny, do you mean how do we find out about, what do you mean? How do we find out about, do you mean the ventures? How do we find about the semi-finalists? Oh, so if you go to, you need to register. If you're an activator, you will have had an email from Jessie. So if you type into your email box, might be, Jessie, do you want to jump in there?
Yeah, so all 2020 New Zealand activators had a link to vote. If you have any questions, you can email us. I'll put my email in the chat. Otherwise, to please activate so that you can participate in voting. And venture applications are opening today in Canada, the US, the UK, and close on November 2nd. So if you're an entrepreneur, please apply. And if you know incredible women who are working on the world's to-do list, please help us spread the word so we can support them.
Yes, please do. And so if you would like to connect with anybody on this call, then make sure that you write in the chat box where it says everyone in the blue box. You can select someone privately to chat to if you want to share your details together. And if you would like to activate, the big thing that we're trying to do on these calls where we invite everyone together is to tell you about our community and hope that you would like to join us in investing and funding these amazing women-led businesses that are changing the world. Kim Aitken, who's New Zealand and Canadian activator, says, is there an email reapplying that we can share with fellow non-SheEO businesses? Yes, so Jessie will put a link in there that you can put onto your LinkedIn, or you can put in all sorts of different places to encourage people to apply. But they can just go on the SheEO website and they can apply right there. And Jessie's going to send out an email tomorrow. Have I missed anything? Jessie, tell me if I've missed anything.
We love your feedback on today's event. This is our largest global gathering to date. So Caitlin's going to pop a link into the chat for our event feedback form. And then last, we're going to take a group photo, but we have many, many screens today. So I believe we will have 7 screens. So I might recommend just holding up your pose because you're not sure which of the 7 screens you might be on. So this one might be you. So if everyone could put a gesture for how you're feeling in this moment. 1, 2, 3. Screen number 2. 1, 2, 3. Screen number 3. 1, 2, 3. Screen number 4. 1, 2, 3. Screen number 5. 1, 2, 3. Screen number 6, and you can hear that camera flashing. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And screen number 7. 1, 2, 3. Amazing. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining our call today.
I think the biggest thank you for the photos goes to the ladies in, is it Corner County, who all got up out of their seats and all did lots of posing. I hope that, Jessie, you select the one that they're all on. So thank you so much, ladies. And thank you, everybody, for joining the call. It was so fun. If you'd like to connect and find out more about how to activate, go to SheEO.world. And otherwise, I'll see everybody in New Zealand back here next week. And someone's saying, how do we save the chat? Go to the 3 dots in the chat box, the 3 dots in the box, and there's an option there to save the chat. So just make sure you share it before you leave. And thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Jessie. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Namahe. Kakite. Yeah, kakite, everybody.
Bye. Kakite.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Love you, Jenny.
Thanks, everyone. Nice meeting you all.
Great to meet you. I'll just stay on an extra minute if anyone, if you haven't had a chance to save the chat yet.